Hey friends, how are you? Happy Halloween. I thought this would be a really great time to do a video on fear. And I just have the strongest feelings, I guess, about fear because I see it everywhere. I see people crippled by it. And I think that it's something that we need to learn how to overcome. I mean, obviously, if you're an entrepreneur, then this is something that you will have to overcome at some point. So I see it in all different areas of life. You know, people let it hold them back. Like, oh, what if, what if people are going to make fun of me? What if I fail? People are afraid of success, you guys. Sometimes that's a big thing. Like, what if it actually works? Then what? So we have that fear too. We have the fear of, of leaving that comfort zone. Like, what if I do this? What if I leave my job and go chase this dream and it doesn't work? What if I lose everything? What if, what if, what if? And I'm here to tell you guys that fear and faith, they cannot live on the same plane. And if you are an entrepreneur, then you have to choose one or the other. And there is legitimate, real things to be afraid of, you guys, in this world. Obviously, if you just turn on the news for a second and watch what is happening in this world. And if you let that negativity and that fear take over, it will. And it will stop you from doing what you were called to do, or your greatness that is in you. That fear will stop you. I see it in the gym all the time where people are afraid. They're afraid to try new things because they don't want people to see them, looking bad or not doing well. They're afraid to try new things because their arm feels weird, or because they're a little bit more sore than they are normally. They're like, oh, something's wrong with me, and they go down this whole it's like a downward spiral of fear. Like, what if this is, I can never use my arm again, or I can never use my legs again, or what if, right? And you guys, fear and faith, again, are the same exact thing. So what if you just took all of that stuff that you're using, or all that stuff that you're using on that negative hamster wheel of fear, what if you just take that and apply it to faith instead? Because they both are projecting a future that has not happened yet, right? Fear is just vision of the future, and it's the non-preferred vision of the future that you have for your life, right? Where faith is maybe the positive, like, what is your preferred future? What does that look like? And faith takes the same amount of courage and imagination and energy and effort. It just has a better outcome, right? And so I have a few strategies that I want to share with you. And this is coming from a girl. I'll just be transparent with you because that's my goal here, is just to share my story with you, and share my transparency and my trials and my errors and my failures too with you. But listen to me, up until like 2 or 3 years ago, I was scared to death to get on the phone to order anything like pizza, okay? So that was our family's thing. Every Friday night we did pizza. We still do it today. I love that. And I was afraid to get on the phone and order pizza, okay? And this is somebody where my business today is is built over the phone. And so it's absolutely crazy that was a fear of mine, and it was a real fear. I mean, I would start sweating. I would start, getting really nervous. I would make anybody else do it. I would rather eat soup at home, or like not eat it at all, than pick up the phone and call the pizza man and order. All right. So that was one of the examples of one of the fears that I had to get over, because my business is built over the phone now. Another thing, so here's some of the strategies that I use, okay? Number one, what's the worst thing that can happen, okay? So I look at the situation, whatever it is, what's the worst thing that can happen? Write it out. Think about it. Talk about it. Number two, what's the best thing that can happen? Write it out. Talk about it if you have to. Sometimes I just do this in my head. I don't actually write it out. Unless it's something really big and it's just a big fear that I have, then I'll write it out, okay? And then number three, what is the most likely thing to happen? Actually write it out and think about it. And that strategy has served me really well, because there's so many things that we just let get in the way, that it's all right here, you guys. If you could just flip your perspective on it. Those fears, we are not born with many fears. I think we are born with like 1 or 2 actual fears. The fear of falling is one of them, and then I think the fear of being abandoned. Someone could maybe fact check me on that, but everything else is a learned fear, okay? So if we can learn it, we can unlearn it. And it's all about what we feed ourselves, all about what we're feeding our mind and our perspective on failure even. And then the other thing that I do, and this is kind of morbid, but this works for me, is that I remember that my life here is very short and that I am going to die. And that usually lights the fuel, the fire for me to be able to take action regardless of how I am feeling in that moment. That usually is something that really gets me moving and really puts things into perspective for me. Because I'm like, what, you're not going to pick up the phone and call somebody to build this business or to change somebody's life because you're afraid. Like that's not even a real fear. So I hope that helps. But I know in the moment when you are feeling afraid, it is very real, right? That feeling of fear is very real. And so those are my two biggest strategies that I use. Number one, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the best thing that can happen? What's likely to happen? Think of those three scenarios. Number two, remember that your life here is very short, and you are gonna die. And that helps me more than anything. And then number three, know this, you guys. Like, all it takes a lot of the times is just 20 seconds of insane courage. Just 20 seconds to hit the call button. Just 20 seconds to share your story. Just 20 seconds to go pick up the barbell. Just 20 seconds to walk through the door, to speak what you're really feeling. Just 20 seconds of insane courage. That's from that movie, We Bought a Zoo, but I just love that quote because that is true. That is very true. You don't need a whole year of courage. You just need 20 seconds of insane courage. So I hope you're out there crushing some fears. I know it's Halloween and we're supposed to be celebrating fear, but I personally don't like Halloween because I don't like celebrating negativity and evil. But that's just my personality. I like to keep everything positive, and so anyway, I hope that you're out there crushing fear, and life is too short to live in fear. So God bless you guys. Hope that added some value, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.